One thing stood out to me over the weekend as Dylan Cruz is back with the Washington Nationals, and let me tell you this, his impact is real.
You are Locked On Nationals, your daily Washington Nationals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And yes, I'm your host, Ryan Clary. You can catch me over on Twitter at RyanClary11 as we are hosting the Locked On Nationals podcast. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. And the Nats had the day off today, so we'll talk about James Wood being in the leadoff spot. And I'm going to tell you this, he belongs in that leadoff spot. We'll get to that later on. And in the second segment, it is a Nats stock report Monday. Whose stock is up and whose stock is down? I've got your latest individual performances on the Washington Nationals. But we start off discussing Dylan Cruz's impact. He is back from the IL, and his impact is much greater than what he does on the field. But today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel, and football season is around the corner. Visit FanDuel app today and start planning your future bets now. And honestly, if you're betting on the future for the Washington Nationals, Dylan Cruz has to be in that bet. Right now, the Nationals have been playing a lot better baseball over these past 4 games going up against the Phillies. Splitting the series 2-2 is a huge, huge win for this Nationals team. Now, what has been kind of different? Well, number one, the Nationals have been tinkering with the lineup a little bit. Some ways have been good, some ways have been bad. We'll get into the good later on in the show today. But the other thing is, Dylan Cruz is back. And one thing that you may not have realized at this point in time is that the Nationals are actually close to a winning record when Dylan Cruz is in the starting lineup. Entering the game yesterday, the Nationals were 24-24 with Cruz in the lineup. And after yesterday's loss, they are now 24-25 with Cruz in the lineup. And they are a couple of really good games in their away from having a winning record. I think back to the Phillies series earlier on this season, back in May, when the Nationals blew a lead late on in the 9th inning. If you have a couple of those situations flip, then the Nationals would have a winning record with Cruz in the lineup. I think Dylan Cruz's intensity and the way that he prepares and the way that he just simply plays is contagious. Dylan Cruz is a winning ball player. And I think when the Nationals took him at number 2 overall, that was certainly part of the equation. Because what did we say about Cruz coming out of the draft? He had one terrific tool that was by far and away better than everybody else in that year's draft class. That was his hit tool. That's what we said. But the underlying factors as to what made Dylan Cruz one of the top prospects in that year's draft and what made him a number 1 overall prospect entering 2024 and 2025 for that matter, was that this guy is really good at everything. We saw that yesterday because, again, throwing out Harrison Bader in a tight ball game was such a big play for this Nationals team. You see him diving on the ground for many different balls, making big-time catches. You see him coming up in big situations, having a 2-run double that cut the lead to a 6-5 game in yesterday's performance. You've seen a ton of big-time moments from Dylan Cruz. When the lights are the brightest, that's typically when Dylan Cruz is at his best. This guy is a gamer. And when you have someone like Dylan Cruz who shows up each and every single day and kind of brings this energy to this team that we simply did not have over these past few months, it becomes contagious. And the Nationals need leadership like this. Dylan Cruz is a big positive for this team. And right now, if there were someone on this roster that could really kind of take this team and take it to the next level, we'd start with the conversation around Dylan Cruz. I love James Wood, but he's never going to be like your team leader. He is not going to be the guy who's going to be super vocal in the clubhouse. He's not going to be the guy to take people under his wing. That's not his job, and quite frankly, it should not be his job. That's Dylan Cruz's job. And I think this weekend, while again, it was only 4 games back and the Nationals were a much different team earlier on this season than what they were during the middle summer here. But Dylan Cruz has proven that this team can be a lot better. And Dylan Cruz might just make this team better. Having that brand around Dylan Cruz of someone who is such a good, well-rounded player brings up the energy of this team, I think. And again, we are just kind of scouting Dylan Cruz, you could say, about talking to him and making these assumptions, but these are real things now. And the Nationals were a lot better with him in the lineup last year also, but now that he has kind of taken a leadership role, and now that he has taken Dalen Lyle and Robert Hassel kind of under his wing at this point, Dylan Cruz has been a much better player. And even then, he has not been able to reap the benefits from his own success at this point. Dylan Cruz has not been hitting the baseball all too well. That's been no surprise at this point. Earlier on this season, it was the strikeouts, and even then, he's putting the ball in play. He's having some high exit velos, but he's a lot better than what the numbers indicate. And the value that he brings defensively, that is a key point here. This Nats team is an awful defensive team. They have been from game 1, and they had been all the way since yesterday. But Dylan Cruz brings his team up just a little bit in that department. Maybe they're not the worst defensive team with Cruz in the lineup. He makes the hustle plays. He is going to run out the 90 feet every single time. I'm old school in this sense. While I praise analytics and while I do believe analytics are today's game, that's how you kind of get over that hump. Dylan Cruz does all the little things right that I think a lot of old school managers and old school baseball people appreciate, and boots on the ground scouts love this guy. And we should too, because this guy is a contagiously good player. And looking at him, I want you guys to think of this real quick. Again, old school scouting here. When was the last time you saw a game in which it was the 9th inning and Dylan Cruz had a clean jersey? You might think I'm kind of joking here, but seriously, I want you to acknowledge this going forward. Every time you watch Dylan Cruz, take a mental note of his jersey in the 9th inning. There is going to be grass skid marks. There is going to be brown stains from the dirt sliding back into first base or trying to swipe second base. He is going to have a messy jersey. He is going to be dripping in sweat. Dylan Cruz is one of those hustle players. He is going to get dirty. He's going to lay out for the ball. And that effort, again, is contagious. Right now, Dylan Cruz's value to this team is honestly not even measurable at this point. We can't sit here and say how much value he brings to this team. But I am willing to say that with the Nationals and Dylan Cruz in the lineup, we are a much better team. And some of you might be saying, well, of course we are. He's a good ball player. But this team right now is, again, hovering around 500 with Cruz in the lineup. That means something. That means something to me. That means something to the Nationals. And it should mean something to Dylan Cruz. I saw a lot of people tweeting about this yesterday, including Chelsea Janes, who covers baseball for the Washington Post. And she was kind of the one who kind of put this in my brain, really. And we talked about it on Friday also. I think Dylan Cruz just makes his team better for even the things off the field. The Nationals lack leadership at this point. They lack veteran leadership. But Dylan Cruz, while he's not a veteran, he's in his first full season. And even then, a lot of it was cut short due to an oblique injury. And he nearly missed 3 months of the season. But he brings value, and a lot of it, to this team. And we can't just overlook that, because while the Nationals do not have the veteran talent that they need in order to sustainably win, you do have someone who looks to be a big part of this future, and the name is Dylan Cruz. So thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And yes, again, look up Locked On Nationals on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and of course over on Spotify as well. But next, let's get into a Nats stock report. Whose stock has been up and whose stock has been down. We'll talk about that after this. August 26th is officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. We are just 8 days away for a 24-hour marathon that FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're just calling your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champ before week one even kicks off, this is your moment. Maybe you think our local hero, Jaden Daniels, might win the MVP, but also, you know what? It is August after all. Maybe you think the Commanders will win the Super Bowl as well. You could each bet those separately, or maybe even throw in a parlay. And of course, while you're at it, throw out some other money on maybe a Dak Prescott if you're a Cowboys fan. I guarantee you there's one Cowboys fan watching, and it's not me. But also, my pick is my guy, Jaden Daniels. So if you do that, visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your future bets now, because FanDuel Futures Day is 1 day and 1 day only. Again, it's only 24 hours. So FanDuel, again, visit the FanDuel.com app, go to FanDuel.com, download the FanDuel Sportsbook, and join FanDuel. Again, you will not want to miss a thing. And thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And yes, let's get into a Nat stock report as we get into the Washington Nationals over the past 7 to 10 games. And if you're new here, this is the latest individual performances on your top Washington Nationals guys. So let's get it started with a stock up for our guy, your guy, everybody's guy, the MVP on this team, James Wood. It seems as if James Wood has kind of gotten past the struggles, even though he's not crushing the baseball the way that he was for a majority of the season. The extra base hits are coming back. The on base is coming back. Everything seems to be looking up from here. Over his last 10 games, James Wood is batting .300 with a .525 slug. He has 6 doubles, 1 home run, and 9 RBIs. There is no questions surrounding James Wood at this point. We know this guy is a perennial all-star. We know that someday he could be in the MVP conversation. But James Wood had to get over this hump. This was the first awful stretch of his career where he was like 20 games, only hit like 1 home run. And for someone who is on pace for nearly 40 home runs this season, his first full season, that was pretty unprecedented at this point. But at this time, James Wood, you're officially not slumping anymore. He's back. He's hitting for extra bases. He's getting on base. He's even hitting for average. And again, the loud contact seems to be back for Wood. He's still striking out a decent amount, not nearly the rate that he was earlier on this summer when he was striking out nearly 40% of his at-bats. But still, I'd like to see him cut back on the strikeouts just a little bit and put the ball in play just a little bit more. So a stock up for James Wood. That brings us to a stock down for Brady House. Brady House has 1 extra base hit over his last 10 games. He has 5 singles, but again, I need Brady House to hit for extra bases. I need him to go into this thing thinking gap-to-gap power, hopefully over the fence power someday. And a .412 OPS over his last 10 games is not going to cut it. Also adding another error over this weekend. He's now has 5 errors on the season. I think Brady House is a stud defensively. I think we've all kind of seen that. He had a throw across the diamond a few weeks ago that was just jaw-dropping, to say the least. And one note I will say, a positive about Brady House, I was listening to the Phillies broadcast the other day. Alvin Almora Jr., filling in for John Crook of the Philadelphia Phillies, he said that, Alvin said this, that Brady House actually reminds him a lot of Ryan Zimmerman. I thought that was a really interesting note because, again, the Phillies broadcasts, I love them. I think they are great. They are very cutthroat. They're very honest. But to see that and to kind of hear that also, it made me feel good. Because I do think that we have seen a lot of positive from Brady House, even if the numbers have not represented that. Once he really starts to put the ball in play and really kind of get some power under it, I think Brady House will really be a fine, very good baseball player for this team. Maybe not the expectations that we had for him 2 years ago when we all thought that he could be a real like Anthony Rendon type talent. but a Matt Chapman kind of guy, you will take that any single day of the week. If he can start hitting for power and really hone in his defensive craft, we've got our third baseman of the future. So don't get discouraged at this point. He's a really, really good player. Speaking of someone who's really good, stock up for Cade Cavalli. What a performance for him on Saturday. 7 innings pitched, 7 hits given up, walked 0 batters and 5 strikeouts. His fastball consistently touching 98, 99 miles per hour. I did not expect this from Cavalli. I thought Cavalli would struggle. I thought eventually we'd be talking about him moving to the bullpen. But at this point, he has earned a rotation spot going into opening day. Already, he has shown me plenty at this time. The keys for him at this point is number one is command. And that is what he has done really well so far in the majors. I read this article the other day, and I think it was kind of eye-opening. Because we've always talked about guys like DJ Hers and Cade Cavalli and Mitchell Parker, who have all come into this Nationals team with really high walk rates in AAA, and all of a sudden they get cut down in the majors. We've always said, well, it's Sean Doolittle and what he does. While that may be part of it, but also, did you know that AAA actually has a tighter strike zone than what Major League Baseball does? You probably did not know that, which kind of insinuates why the walk rates are so high in AAA right now. So I think Cade Cavalli has done an incredible job at this point, being consistently good over his first 3 starts since 2022. And again, going 7 innings deep against a loaded Phillies offense. What an awesome job by Cade Cavalli. This is going to be a building block that we'll be talking about a lot this offseason. And it just feels good for him, number one, but also it feels good for this organization. This is a big win for the Nationals if you can get Cavalli to be his old self. And if Cavalli is his old self, the Nationals have a great 1-2 punch with Gore and Cavalli going into next season. And we'll just have to see what happens with the Nationals moving forward. So a stock up for Cade Cavalli. Now we have to get to a stock down for someone we did just mention, Mitchell Parker. He did not make it out of the second inning yesterday. Gave up 5 earned runs, 6 runs in total. Had some bad defense there. But over his last 8 starts, 6 of those starts, he has given up 4+ earned runs in. The pixie dust surrounding Parker is done at this point. Last year, early on when he made his debut in Dodger Stadium, everyone was like, oh my gosh, that is a tough debut to go up against Shohei Ohtani and Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts. He was a star in that game. That has all kind of wavered at this point. I'm looking right now, and we're having serious discussions surrounding Mitchell Parker in the future of him in this rotation. And honestly, if the Nationals go into 2026 with him in the rotation, something went wrong. And I like Mitchell Parker. I think he's got some good stuff. He has a really nice curveball at times when he can command it and keep it down. But that has been a huge hurdle for him to get over. He cannot command his curveball at times. And that has really been a downfall for him as we've kind of gone on this season. You've seen a lot of home runs given up, including another one yesterday. And honestly, it's just getting really tiresome at this point. I'm kind of tired of watching Mitchell Parker every 5 days, and it just has not been a good performance for what feels like nearly a month now. Again, 6 of his last 8 starts, he's given up 4+ earned runs. Right then and there, that's just bad, and we cannot win with that moving forward. So that's a problem that the Nationals are going to have to figure out eventually, and hopefully we can get that done here soon. Speaking of a problem that the Nationals did figure out, Jose Ferrer. He has been your Nationals closer, and quite frankly, he should be your Nationals closer. This guy is very, very talented. Over his last 5 appearances, he's gotten his first 2 saves of the season. We saw him come in with a couple of saves last year, and including in 2023 as well. But over his last 5 appearances, he has 7 innings pitched, 0 earned runs, 7 hits given up, 5 strikeouts in the big one, 0 walks. And also to reflect that, he is throwing strikes nearly 70% of the time over his last 5 appearances. And again, in those 7 innings pitched. The Nationals have found themselves a closer. And one of my big predictions this offseason going into this season was that Jose Ferrer would be an all-star. Jose Ferrer, I'll tell you right now, it does not matter how bad it gets. I will not quit on a lefty that throws 98, 99, who has a presence that he does and has the stuff that he does as well. He has got like this whip out slider that I just love. And it's a beautiful pitch to watch that really can jam some right-handed hitters at times. But Jose Ferrer has got the stuff to be not only a really good closer, but an all-star kind of reliever. It's just a matter of putting everything together at once. And when he does do this, and when he does throw strikes, and when he's not getting tattooed with his fastball in the zone, he puts up performances like these and getting and collecting a couple of saves for the Washington Nationals under Miguel Cairo. So Jose Ferrer has been awesome. I would love to see him build on this as we continue to go on this season. By the way, he's been really good the past 2 September, so watch him as we get into the September months moving forward. But thank you all for making Locked On Nash your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. And James Wood has been in the leadoff spot. Miguel Cairo, this might be the first thing that you have done that I love for the Washington Nationals. Let me tell you about that after this. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the daily fantasy platform that lets you turn your football predictions into real rewards. And preseason is already heating up, and college football is not far behind. Whether you've got your eye on big name QBs or breakout running backs, PrizePicks makes it easy to get in the game. And I can tell you this, I am so excited for Jaden Daniels, but I'm also excited for the 7th round rookie Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. You'll see in preseason action tonight. He might be the Commander starting running back. And while the price is low, I'd get on over on the touchdowns for Krosky-Merritt. I'd get on over on the rushing yards because he might be your RB1. And the flex play option is a total game changer as well with our friends at PrizePicks, because even when one of your picks misses, you still can double your money. So download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. PrizePicks, run your game. And thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And let me just tell you this, I love James Wood in the leadoff spot. We're going to get into a lot more of this in tomorrow's show and just kind of the lineup construction overall, so stay tuned for that in tomorrow's first segment. But James Wood belongs in the leadoff spot, and I do want to talk about that real quick. As I was mentioning my old school thoughts, I feel like I have a nice mix of old school thoughts, but also new school thoughts. My new school thoughts are, I want to be an analytical team. I want to use analytics to our benefit. And at the end of the day, I think it'll help us a ton moving forward. Miguel Cairo or Mike DeBartolo, whoever said, James Wood, you're going to be a leadoff hitter. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. James Wood belongs in the leadoff spot. And why does he? Your team's best hitter is now your leadoff hitter. That is how it should be. That is what the analytics say. And right now, James Wood, I think we can all agree, is the Nationals' best hitter at this point. But moving him up in the lineup gives opportunities for guys like Luis Garcia Jr., who we also saw bat in leadoff spot yesterday. CJ Abrams hit him in. Guys like Josh Bell and Paul DeYoung, who have been hitting really well. Dylan Cruz, who moved up in the lineup. I think this opens up a ton of possibilities for what James Wood could be. So seeing him in the leadoff spot this weekend, I absolutely loved it. And the Nationals should do a lot more of this moving forward. And by the way, I think they will. So on tomorrow's show, I can tell you this right now. I just wanted to kind of give you a little teaser for tomorrow, but the Nationals and their lineup construction as of late with Wood in the leadoff spot, that is how it should be. And CJ Abrams batting second or maybe even batting third, that's how it should be as well. This feels like a Mike DeBartolo production, and if it is, kudos to you because I love that. And the Nationals should be doing that moving forward, and they should be giving James Wood every opportunity to succeed because, by the way, if you're batting leadoff, you're probably going to lead your team in at-bats, and you want your team leader and at-bats to be your team's best hitter. Make that math make sense. Quite frankly, it does. So thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. So again, on tomorrow's show, let's talk about lineup construction, because I've talked a lot about it recently. I want to get into my ideal lineup, and we'll talk about that on tomorrow's episode of Locked On Nationals. Stay tuned until then. Go Nats.